So I think tonight will be fun because I'm running a bit of a temperature. Michael has asthma. Ashley's had too much caffeine. Austin, I'm not sure what your problem is, but you'll have to let us know. And Lindsay, you're just freezing, and your solution to that after the show is to go play on ice.
Yep.
So
Yep.
tonight should be a hoot.
Here we go.
As the kids say. The kids say hoot, right?
Oh, yeah.
Sure.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
For sure.
A hoot and a nanny. Oh, yeah.
Oh,
Okay.
yeah.
Alrighty. Hi, everybody. Welcome to Sidebar,
Hello.
Good evening.
where we constantly stray off topic, and in the end, we solve nothing. That is the whole theme of this show. That is our shtick. That is what we do. Welcome aboard. So we got Barbara out there, and Grandma TCF, and Charles, and a whole bunch of other people, I'm sure. So I lost it again. What are we talking about tonight? Oh, here we go. Ethical and legal questions around punishing survival behaviors. What are you laughing at me for?
It's like the third time in the last 10 minutes you forgot what we're talking about.
Well, you know what? It's that fever, I'm telling you. It's
Yeah.
messing with my short-term memory.
I believe the only prescription is more cowbell.
Actually might
It's a
have
Monday.
somewhere around here.
Can't
It's
have
a Monday
it
without a
No.
Monday.
Yeah.
Good
It
heavens.
is the most Mondayest Tuesday ever.
Yep.
So anyways, the question becomes, is there a time when it should be okay to break the law, or should we punish people less severely because what they're doing comes down to just trying to survive? And supposedly in the fourth hour of today's show, I made the same point that Lindsay was going to make, but the good news is I've completely forgotten what I've said. So I think Lindsay had some thoughts to start us off, and if you would want to go there and let us know.
I think I remember where we were going, or what your point was. That I'm like, damn it, that was the point I was gonna make.
So you've forgotten too now?
Yeah,
Sweet.
it's too
All
cold.
right.
My brain, I'm purely on survival, stay warm mode. If I remember right, it was a comment you had made around the progression of, well, then what does one deem survival, and like kind of how you can kind of cascade that, well, I held up that bank and robbed it, or I stole that person's debit card because I just needed money to survive. I think that was the point that was being made. But
Yeah, I don't remember that, but cool.
and Dan is delirious. This is going to be a great show, guys. But I mean, I kind of had time this afternoon while doing things in Excel that require more muscle memory than mind power, and I had my phone, going through my musical library, and the prologue from Les Miserables came up, and the whole show kicks off with a prison chain gang, and they pull the main protagonist out of the chain gang and say, "All right, you're released." And we learned that his crime was merely stealing a loaf of bread because he and his family were starving, and so he's now kind of this societal cast out because we were starving. I stole a loaf of bread, and you will, and that line from the antagonist, the policeman character, and you will starve again unless you learn the meaning of the law. So this is not a new battle by any means. If Victor Hugo was writing about this in 1800s, and if we're making musicals about it in 1980s and still listening to it today, but it does become what is the question of right or wrong here? It's wrong, but you're doing it to survive. What's the definition of survival? Yep. There's so many different ways we could go in this train of thought, and I think I just went 3 by myself. So, Charles, yes, he's got typing the lyrics in the chat. He just made my night.
Way to go.
Yeah, so that was the myriad trains of thought that my brain went down. But I had a literal example of it happening today when I was riding an actual train into work this morning, and noticed 4 or 5 folks that clearly had been settled in for the ride, just trying to stay warm when it was 6 below here in Minnesota. And normally at a certain stops along the way, transit police comes on and kind of shakes people and gets them off if they haven't paid. But this morning they were just kind of shaking people, making sure they were okay, and then walking on, just letting them ride. Like, I'm not going to kick you off the train when it's 6 below and you're clearly here just trying to stay warm and you're not hurting anything. And so that kind of brought it in perspective to, like, if it's truly not hurting anything, then why would we punish them if they're just trying to stay warm and literally survive a cold day?
Yes.
Okay.
So yeah, lots of thoughts all at once there. Go nuts, guys.
Well, I could get behind it for the scenario that you just put out there where you're just trying to stay warm and survive. I think that's in a different category from a theft, which I do remember we were in Judge Stevens' court this morning and there was that guy who was doing lots of thievery, and that's where I think I tried to dovetail it into what we were talking
13
about tonight.
convictions.
Yes.
Yep.
That was the point.
See, it's coming back a little bit. I'm starting to break through the haze, but I struggle with the whole quote unquote survival behavior when it comes to things like theft, because I think there's still enough goodness out there with people that if you reached out to enough people, especially some of the shelters, the faith-based organizations, stuff like that, and said, hey, here's my struggle. My family's not eating right now. Can you do something to help me? You'll probably find some help.
Yep.
As opposed to just immediately running to the, well, we can't eat tonight, so I need to go steal something.
Yep.
Yeah.
That is where I personally struggle with it a little bit.
I can definitely get on board with that, Dan, because I know a lot of people do steal because of the survival needs. And if they did know their resources of who to reach out to, I think we would see less of those crimes. But in general, I honestly believe, or personally believe, that I think it should go as far as restitution wise if it's a survival need. So if someone steals food or something like that, I know we've seen a couple of cases that involve stealing food. And even I think we even seen some in Judge Stevens where someone stole food just because they didn't have the necessity to buy food, and he seemed to understand, that he was a little bit more maybe lenient or forgiving of that person. But I think it should go as far as restitution. So if somebody is caught stealing something, I think they should pay whatever is needed back. But I don't necessarily think that you should be put in jail because of it. Because in survival mode, you need resources, not sanctions. I just can't get on board with that. And that's why I kind of brought this topic up in the first place, because we see that, especially if, like Lindsay pointed out, the wintertime and people needing more shelter as well. I think it's something we need to think about and try to figure out how to solve this issue.
That's fair. You make a good point. Putting them in jail isn't always going to help the situation, especially if the family is still left out there.
Well, you have that repeat
if it's just the
offender.
individual, it might actually help them by putting them in jail, because then they'll at least get a couple of meals every day and a warm
you have that
bed.
repeat offender thing going on with that 12 cases? Is that what we
13.
13? So yeah, it's not because I don't believe that he likes to steal. There's some people that have a problem with stealing. Now, don't get me wrong, and it's not a survival thing. Like, they'll go to these fancy malls and steal things. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about like actual food and necessities that they're trying to steal. I don't think we should be putting them in prison. I think they should pay back what is owed and let bygones be bygones. I know it doesn't solve everything, but I think it's more toward where we're supposed to be heading.
What if you have somebody, we'll just go an individual, not a family, okay? What if you have somebody who's out on the streets, they get caught stealing something, and let's say they end up in Judge Fleischer's court, where he's more likely to offer them some kind of no-fee probation, during which time they have access to GED and job training and housing and all of the things that he used to throw at people when we were watching them, right? Mm-hmm. But what if that person keeps showing up over and over and over again, and they keep using the same excuse of, well, I'm out on the street, I'm just trying to survive. So they get offered the help, but they don't take it. Does that change the equation at that point?
Yes, definitely.
Okay.
They are provided resources. And I think that's what differentiates people that are in survival mode versus people that are just taking advantage of things. And I think that's what differentiates that ultimately, Dan, to answer your question.
Okay. That's fair. And I ask that because we've seen that before, where we've seen people and you find out it's like their fourth time here, and they were offered help before and they didn't take it, and
I think
usually see a lot of frustration on judges too. It's like, I have thrown every resource I have at you. I've tried getting you rehab, I've tried getting you into housing, I've tried getting you this, I've tried getting you that. And it just seems like there's something that doesn't quite latch with these folks. And the judge is like, then all I have left is to put you in jail, and it's the last thing I want to do. We saw that with Judge, was it Elmore? No, Lake County, Collada, the other day.
Yes.
Yeah, a young woman. It's like, I've been trying, and you just won't take it. So this is what I've got to do.
Yep.
Yeah, that's the problem. Somebody's got to... Oh, go ahead.
No. I just had a thought. I think back to where we were standing on homelessness and poverty, I think criminalizing that, at least initially, I think it perpetuates inequality in the long term. So I think to give it a fair playing field, I think those resources need to be given to them, because that's what, to even the playing field for the structural justice standpoint. I think that's what needs to happen.
Actually,
I think they need to be offered that.
I don't disagree, but I've lived in a city where homelessness is a major crisis, and there are sometimes extenuating circumstances within the individual where you can throw every resource, offer every solution, basically pick them up and set them in a hotel room, and until those extenuating circumstances are solved for, at the end of the day, all folks are left with is the criminal system. Like, hey, they are high as a kite and pissing on a wall, pardon my language. I've got to throw them in jail. I don't care how many times we've tried to, get them into housing or set them up with resources. Like, at the end of the day, there's nothing else I can do for them.
So those extenuating circumstances being drug use and mental health.
Yeah, essentially.
Treatment and resource-based interventions are needed in that case.
Yep.
They absolutely are.
I think the court should really buddy up, at least with any treatment or diversion programs they can get a hold of, so they can prevent these people from ending back in the same situation, and try to get them out of there. Give them kind of a new life if possible. That's what I believe in anyway.
Yeah, no, I definitely don't disagree. Just throwing some witnessed experiences out there at you.
Yep.
Yeah, I mean, this is
but Barbara just said, but people need to help themselves, and that's the thing too.
Right.
Yep.
I definitely don't think we should let people take advantage of it. Definitely not. But I think it should at least be offered to them initially, and if they fail at whatever is offered to them, then but I think they should at least get that.
Yep.
So here's a question for us. What would you guys consider to be survival behavior? What would be a more understandable crime from an aspect of survival? What's acceptable, what's not?
people taking food,
Food or
medicine.
clothing, like Ashley.
Water.
just said, medicine.
Food, water, medicine.
Water. Yep.
Yeah.
And I draw
basic
the line.
clothes.
I draw the line, Dan, at breaking into people's homes.
Yep.
Because you're actually causing other people, causing damage to other people's property, in regards to individual people. So I kind of draw the line there. But other than that, I think everything else is fair game.
Okay.
Well, not only that, but you're putting people at risk when you go into people's homes, including yourself. Because, I mean, here in Phoenix, I mean, I think you're just an idiot if you break into someone's home because you don't know. There is a very high chance there is a gun waiting for you at the other end of that door, and it ain't going to work out for you.
Well, we talked about one of those on the pre-show this morning, not far from the bunker here.
Yeah. So I think if you're gonna take stuff, do it at the store, and it comes down to things, the basics: food, water, maybe medicines, for whatever. But even at food, if someone's stealing a bunch of filet mignon, I'm sorry, we're gonna have a problem,
Yeah.
But if you're
big
taking,
screen
You're
TVs.
stealing it and taking it back to your house and cooking it
Or
up.
a posh
Right.
posh warehouse where they're
Right.
stealing clothes.
Yeah.
Like, I don't think that falls under that category.
Right.
Maybe Walmart
Yeah,
or something.
you're stealing Louis Vuitton. I mean, we might have a problem. But
Yep.
but if you're just taking some bread and some peanut butter and some some very basic items,
Candy bar from the cash register area.
yeah, I mean, and clearly, homeless people, not saying that it's great, but I at least can understand it. I think that's a certainly a mitigating factor in any sort of punishment. And I do think that, if you avail people of the opportunities, now if there's just not any resources in the community that you're in, or very limited resources, then that's different. But most major cities and even mid-sized cities have many different programs and opportunities that people can avail themselves of, and that's one thing. And of course, as Lindsay talked about, unfortunately, it's the old, you got to put away the crack before the crack puts you away. You gotta
Smash
Yeah.
Mouth
Very
just
well
entered the
said.
chat.
Yes.
Well, you might as well be walking on the sun.
Yes.
I'd rather do that right now than wait.
Yeah.
Holy cow.
Charles brought up urban counties, and I was going. That was kind of one of my points too. Urban areas don't have a lot of resources either.
You mean
so-
rural?
They're stretched very, very
or
thin.
rural? Sorry. Yeah.
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 So you're talking about people like stealing peanut butter and stuff like that. And admittedly, it's a little bit anecdotal, but I can't tell you the last time or even if we've seen such a case here on TCF.
Yep.
Where they've clearly just stolen food for survival, and that's why they're in court.
We had one
There
guy
was a
try to use that excuse in one of the Texas courts.
Stevens.
Stevens.
Yep.
Yeah.
Stevens.
Yep.
And turns out that's not what he was taking.
Yep.
Yeah.
Have we seen any legit examples of it?
So there's a pretty viral video of a couple that stole stuff in Judge Oakley's court. And I think they had just lost their jobs or something like that, and they got but here's on that, they were very, very remorseful and embarrassed by the whole thing. They had kids and stuff, and Judge Oakley didn't really come down on them, and
I think I remember that one.
yeah. So, and I think I remember one in Fleischer's court too, where someone's stealing like some basic items. Like this isn't stuff, and we've seen others kind of on the fringes of the law tube space. Michelle and I will watch some of these other, police body cam things, and a guy stole gloves from CVS or something, and the cop wound up just buying him the gloves and again, clearly a homeless individual, somebody that cop knew who had been on the street for quite a while. Stuff like that, but we don't see that too often. It is anecdotal and it is kind of a rare case. Most of the time when we see people stealing stuff, they'll say, "Oh yeah, I was stealing to survive," and then it turns out, they took a big screen TV or a tablet, these kinds of things.
Yeah. Instead of stealing to live, they were living to steal.
Yeah. There you go, Dan.
Get it flipped. Well, it's the truth. I was just sitting here trying to rack my brain for examples, and we don't have many of them.
Yeah, here and there, but it's pretty small.
There was one person I think that we saw that was trying to steal like children's clothing. I forgot.
Yes.
Which court that was, but that is a need.
I do remember that, Ashley, and I'm trying to remember where that was now because I was just.
Was it Stephen? Or
it's one of the Texas courts, and I'm pretty sure it was Stevens.
I believe it was Stevens as well.
Yeah, he gets all the fun cases.
Yeah, they stole clothes for their children. And I think, if I'm not mistaken, they got off pretty lightly because of that.
Well,
too.
And I think the difference is sometimes when you look at people and their criminal records, if you see someone that has these petty thefts for these kinds of small things, but other than that, their record is pretty clean. They're not out there assaulting people. They're not out there, arson and all this other stuff. I think you can kind of look at, they say don't judge a book by its cover, but sometimes you can judge a book by its cover. When you see someone has some minor petty thefts and nothing else, you kind of get a lay of the land for what you're dealing with versus if someone has a rap sheet that's, like the phone book for Los Angeles, it's pretty clear that there's more to the story than just stealing because I was hungry. Yep.
And people there's some people that steal because it's an impulsive behavior, and we're not talking about that either.
Well, and again, that goes back to mental health.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That is a problem, but it's not survival. It's not for their survival. It's just because of their impulsive behavior. But
and Ashley, that if we wanted to solve that, again, this goes back to you have to really do a deep dive into all the mental health institutions and all the resources that we have related to mental health that we have scaled back.
Yeah.
And that has to be fixed.
It does.
Simply throwing people in prison or jail is just not the answer for that sort of thing.
Yep.
No.
I remember one of the
back up in there. Yeah. Go ahead.
Things with Middleton. It was that same type of issue. They stole something, and it had been going on several times. And Middleton's like, I wish we still had.
Oh yeah.
Some type of treatment program that he started back when
like
he
the
was DA.
shoplifters course or something
Yes.
like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that would be something.
I like Judge Boyd's course. Hers is pretty simple. I think it's
jail?
great.
Just
No, her she goes, I'll give you the theft course right now. If you go over to someone's house and there's property there and it doesn't belong to you, don't steal it.
Oh, that course.
Yes. If someone tells you to leave, you leave. That's basically the what is it called? Like I don't think it's MRT. It's one of those, but it's like the theft course that they have in Texas. I'm like, why does someone need a whole course when really Judge Boyd just gave you the crash course. She gave you the Cliff's Notes in, about 20 seconds.
Exactly.
Yeah, it's just the word no.
Yeah. Wait,
not that
does
hard.
it belong to you?
Yep.
If answer equals no, then don't steal.
Touch it.
Yeah.
That's some pretty advanced logic there, Michael.
Well,
Starting
Well, then
getting
there's
into
the whole,
if-then statements.
Does it belong to you? Yes, no. Is it for sale? Yes, no. Can you pay for it? Yes, no. I mean, you start adding layers in, and that just gets too
Too
complicated.
too complicated. Yeah.
People can't handle
I
it.
find that there. Am I correct in saying that in Reno, it seems like lots of people like to steal and trespass there too?
Well, that's a
Well,
different
the
element.
Casinos, I think.
Casinos. Yep.
Yep.
Oh, the casinos. Oh, got it.
They trespass anybody who looks at them wrong.
Yep.
Yeah.
Or anybody who's winning too much money.
Yep.
Yeah. Okay. Got it.
They also
So
have a not insignificant homelessness problem up there
yeah,
too.
Vegas. So, I used to go to Vegas a lot. And one place that I went, sometimes down there on good old Fremont Street, and the homeless population there has just boomed. You walk around at night, it is early in the morning, it is not uncommon to see lots and lots and lots of people just sleeping right there, right next to the buildings. And sometimes you'll go in the casino, sometimes in some of the like lounge areas, there'll be people just dozed off in the chair, and they're clearly, also homeless folks. And sometimes the casinos chase them out, and sometimes they don't. It's a big problem. And again, this is, solving it again by just slapping sanctions on people is like, it's treating the cancer by slapping a Band-Aid on it. I mean, you're really not doing anything.
Mhm.
But again, I think it's just more programs are needed, more opportunities, and rehabs and all that sort of thing. And then sometimes even all that stuff, for some folks, it just, as Lindsay kind of alluded to, it's just
Doesn't stay.
it's not going to stick. Yeah.
And if that person is at risk to the community, I think that would be a sufficient reason to put them behind bars. But other than that, if they're not a harm to the community and they paid like what they owed back, or if they're able to pay restitution back, I think I just stand behind what I think about that. I think helping those people would ultimately help the community in general, which would help the problem in the area, hopefully, over time.
So perhaps that's a good place to go next, is helping those people. I had something that came to mind that I'd like to bounce off of you guys. And that's what's the responsibility of the community? What's the responsibility of corporations to be looking after and looking out for those who find themselves in such a situation? And here's why I ask this question. Most brands, whether it be a clothing brand or an accessories brand or a food brand, like a lot of the fast food places and whatnot, they purposefully destroy their product so it does not end up in the hands of the poor. Mm-hmm. So that it does not end up at a Goodwill, at a shelter, anything like that, because they don't want it devaluing their brand. Bath and Body Works, for example, I know for a fact they take all of their product that they don't sell and they dump it all together into one big puddle, rather than give it out to a homeless shelter where people might need to clean themselves. Subway, when I worked for them, this is, decades ago now because I was a teenager, but we were required to throw out our bread after 24 hours rather than actually hand it to a homeless shelter that could have fed somebody with it that night.
we had to do the same at McDonald's when I worked there with
Yep.
any of the food items, even like some of the meats and the foods that we had cooked. They had stayed in the warmers, but they had reached their lifespan in the warmer, and we couldn't give them to somebody. And we had people ask all the time, but we had to throw them away.
Yep. In a lot of places, they'll have you dump like a cleaner or grease or something like that
Yep.
on it to destroy it.
We had to dump it straight in the trash and then put trash on top of it to mix it. Yeah.
So,
Wow.
is that okay? I
No.
would say no.
No.
It's
I would-
Very
self-defeating.
small-minded.
Yep.
I would personally be more loyal to a high-end brand if they took the time to take their overruns and put them in the hands of those that are needed, even if, and there's ways to do it too where it could work. Like, let's say you've got a high-end clothing manufacturer who doesn't want their latest women's blouses out there.
Yep.
Well, that material could still be reworked into something else for them.
Right.
Yep.
you
And
know?
then there's
So it's,
yeah,
or just remove your branding from it or something like that.
yeah, exactly, Dan. Actually, I've been talking about this subject with students, and we've been talking about bombas and how every purchased pair of socks bought, they give a pair out to the homeless community.
That
Things
is the
like
only
that.
socks I wear are Bombas.
Yes. So
Yep. They're wonderful too, by the way. Get you some.
yeah, their quality is top notch just
Yep.
because they know it's going out to the homeless community, in which they're rougher on clothes and things like that. So it works.
Well, Yeah, and these stores, anybody that just destroys all this stuff, they then will turn around and talk about, retail theft is off the charts and homelessness and we can't but it's like,
Yeah.
well, what are you, other than prosecuting people, what are you doing to help the situation?
Mm-hmm.
And if you try to say, well, it's not our problem, well, then don't complain about shoplifting and don't complain about retail theft and all this other stuff, because I don't want to hear it. I mean,
Right.
at some point, I mean, I hate to say, you don't live in a vacuum. These things don't happen in a vacuum. Ultimately, corporations are partly culpable for what goes on. You wanting to protect your brand is actually hurting you far more than it's helping you. If you just gave out a few of those things that you were going to destroy anyway, I mean, reduce, reuse, recycle. I don't understand. It makes so much more sense. And, they'd probably argue, well, they ain't going to cut it all down. It's not going to get rid of it entirely. Of course it's not. But just because it doesn't completely eliminate the problem doesn't mean you don't do anything.
Yeah.
So England's talking in the chat about
Yeah.
liability. As a business person, I don't buy it because there's always liability. There's always that possibility of somebody getting sick or injured from the product that you offer. That is always there. And I think that's a cop-out and an excuse. I think it more comes down to the fact that they don't want their brand associated with those that are poor.
I think it's a little of both.
Yep.
I think it's a little of both. And I think to kind of piggyback off of what England is saying is, it starts with the unhoused population, the poor population, and it just turns into people feeling advantageous, who might get litigious because they're advantageous. Like, I found a free meal at the dumpster. Oh no, my free meal at the dumpster made me sick. I'm going to go after, McDonald's for the bad burger I got from the dumpster. And next thing I know, I'm buying McDonald's,
Well,
And they shouldn't be allowed to do that.
Yeah, I mean, and the fact that even
Right.
sniffs the court is ridiculous.
I don't disagree. I'm just
that
saying.
filing should go straight into the shredder.
I don't disagree. I'm just, as someone who spent her fair share of time inside corporations too, I can tell you that's exactly where their brains are going.
I know.
Want to be held liable.
Oh, yeah.
I spent decades out in that world and happily exited it to do my own thing.
You're smarter
But-
than I am, Dan.
Well, it's debatable.
I'm just
It's a different kind of stress
Everybody
now.
has their own path.
But
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
but I
So
will
I'm not
I
saying
will say this.
I'm not saying it's not wrong. I'm just saying I can see that's exactly where the well played legal brains are going at these.
No, it is, but at some point somebody needs to step up and say, no, that's not how this is going to be. That's not how, we're going to operate, because it doesn't help anybody. And I'm the guy, probably more than anybody else on the panel, who is about self-reliance and figuring things out and taking care of yourself and taking accountability and all that.
Yeah.
So if even I'm saying, hey, if you have extra, you should step up with that extra.
I agree.
And help people get a hand up.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Not necessarily a hand out, a hand up.
Yeah.
Yep.
If even I'm saying that, I think that means something.
100%.
Yeah.
What ifs should not keep you from doing what is right and what is good. And I definitely back that up 100%. I think.
Yeah.
I think if companies stop worrying about what ifs and started taking proactive measures to doing good in their communities, I think we'll be in a whole different place. But that's just my personal belief.
Well, not only that, but we were talking about, I don't want my product associated with poor people or whatever, or the homeless.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I don't want my product associated with helping people. Why? Like,
Exactly.
there's two ways to look at it, right? Oh yeah, poor people are wearing it, but it's like, hey, yeah, poor people are wearing it. You're helping out people. Why is that a bad thing, or why is that looked upon? I think that's just such a weird way for some companies, these consultants, and consultants are just the bane of existence for a lot of these companies. They'll be like, well, the problem is market research shows that, our product is associated with the unhoused individuals, and we don't, you don't want that, do you? You don't want that associated with Target, do you? It's like, why? Well, why not? I mean, why can't you have your product associated with, because you can spin that in a way and say, hey, yeah, we're trying to do good for the community. Our product is helping the community. Ultimately that might shield you from some of the criticism of, that other big corporations get. I don't know. Maybe I'm just trying to be a silver lining to it, but
it's a competitive advantage in the long run is what you're going to get from that, because if other people are not doing the same thing you are and not helping the community and only worrying about their own pockets, I mean, who does that look bad? Like, who looks bad in that situation? So yeah, definitely.
Yeah, two things. Charles, we were just talking about Bombas, and they donate a pair of socks for like every pair they sell.
Mm-hmm.
And they're wonderful socks. It's all I wear. But what I was going to say was, I think these corporations are missing out. And I'm going to get probably a little bit controversial, but that's okay. I will postulate that a large percentage of today's society is very shallow. However, they also very much want to look like they're doing the right thing.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
So I would say if I had some big high-end clothing brand, I would make the case that it makes sense for my brand with the overruns to be donated to homeless shelters and stuff like that to help out people of need, because, Johnny and Deborah, I Want to Look Goods, are wearing that brand, and they can be walking around going, see, I wear the brand that takes care of people.
Yep.
Yeah.
I would think that would be some major boost for a company, especially nowadays when people want to look like they're doing something for people, but they don't want to put forth the effort.
Yes.
Yeah, we live in a society where people put a little flag or an image on their Facebook or in their social media profile, like somehow, like I put a red, white, and blue flag in honor of somebody that got killed, and it's like, well, okay, yeah, I'm helping. Yeah, so all you have to do.
Isn't that a definition of a hypocrite? Yes, probably.
Yeah. But yeah, you could actually be doing something positive now and still get your bragging rights to all your friends that, hey, I'm helping out because I bought something that, actually helps people, So why not do that? I don't know. Corporations be weird.
It makes sense to me because, you may cringe by me saying it, but I'm not wrong. There's a lot of people that want to look like they're doing something.
Right.
So, and often those are the people that have money too. So if I had a high-end brand, I would consider the option of donating out all of the overruns, all of the extras, all of that, and being very public about it.
Yes.
Because those who really like the brand, again, they can then sell it to all of those people that they know and they want to look good in front of. They want to have that Instagram moment where they can photograph themselves wearing this and say, I wear this brand because they do this.
Right. I don't care if a company were to self-aggrandize, as long as they were ultimately doing good. Hey, you want to have your me moment. You want to be a little bit of a narcissistic company. Neat. You do that. As long as you're helping out people, go ahead.
Everybody wins that way.
And everybody wins because, I think theft would go. I think it would help the court system. I think it would help society. I think, a lot of that would be very beneficial. Might mean a little bit less content here at TCF, but if society got better, I think overall, I think we'd take that.
We have plenty of content opportunities here, Michael.
We all know that the trickle-down approach doesn't work. So why don't our local companies or like corporations kind of, start that in their communities? I think that's an awesome thing. It's a lot faster than the government enforcing something and then it eventually hits them. Which probably won't happen anyway. So yeah, I think, like I said, the people with the more money and has the most prestige are the ones that should be held more accountable for this change.
Lindsay's dogs, ladies and gentlemen.
The corgis agree.
Yes.
Oh, good heavens! I don't know.
But this is one of those. I don't know why lately on Sidebar we've been kind of figuring out ways that we could actually make things better and get into these deeper discussions because we're not supposed to be solving problems.
Well,
it's strictly forbidden. But I think
have
this
to evolve though.
Well, the thing is, Dan, this is one of those that's so, it just seems so easy to do. And it takes such little effort. Oh, I've got extra crap. Let me just pawn it off to the Goodwill or to a church or to whatever, to my community.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And everybody wins. Yeah, the corporation gets the optics, the churches or the Goodwills or the whatevers, they get their stuff and the community benefits. I don't see a problem at all. I don't know.
There's a very small Presbyterian church near me, kind of near downtown Marietta-ish area. But anyway, they feed the homeless in their communities every day. Every time you drive by there, they are having a barbecue set out and everything, and they're feeding them. And that's kind of the standpoint I think that that makes me feel good because they're actually doing what they're supposed to do instead of doing what everybody else is doing and kind of ignoring the issue and just thinking they're just a waste of space or something like that. And I just don't think that's the approach we should take with it.
Yep.
I'm going to drop a organization in the chat too that I'm familiar with and I've worked with in the past. They're called Souls for Souls. And they're an organization that actually helps create economic opportunity for underserved populations, but also work with homeless shelters, low-income schools. Well, they'll take donations of gently used shoes, excess inventory of shoes and clothing, and use it to either help women create small businesses where they in turn can resell it, or they can they'll donate them to big schools that kids need them. They're a fantastic organization. So I really encourage people to look them up and donate. But in a past life, at a past company, maybe a clothing brand with 3 stripes, we worked very closely with them, and it was a great opportunity.
Yeah, I'll definitely check them out, Lindsay.
Oh,
That's awesome.
the clothing brand with 3 stripes actually participated?
Yeah.
Wow.
Wow.
Well, that doesn't necessarily surprise me out of them, I suppose. They've got a better history of it. I know Nike will take razor blades to their overruns.
Yeah.
And yes, I just called you out, Nike. Deal with
Sorry,
it.
Nike. But
But it's true. They'll do it.
I think these companies need to be held accountable. Yeah, I don't think we should say we're sorry, to be honest, because they brought it on themselves to be corporately irresponsible. So yes,
it's not that hard to do, and you can do it at any level. One of the businesses that we run here out of the bunker, it's it ebbs and flows for us, but we have an area where we sell beauty products and cosmetics and stuff like that. But we often have things that don't move, and those go into a box. And once or twice a year, we make a trip to the women's shelter, and it just goes to them. It's not that hard to do.
no.
Giving back to the community, Dan.
My daughter, who is a chef, had times where she would do this like catering stuff, and she'd have product left over. She would make that into different dishes, and then she would take it to the fire department and feed the firefighters. Wow. It's not that hard to give back with your extras, which again, I think it would solve a lot of this issue. But what are we talking about right now, which I've talked about before? And that's handling our stuff outside of government.
Yeah.
So handling it locally with our companies, with ourselves, building better communities. It solves so many problems if we do it.
Yeah.
But, so many people just don't want to put forth the effort for whatever reason. Whether it's profit or whether it's just laziness
usually.
or
Profit.
it's usually profit.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I mean, I guess these guys just don't get the fact that if you do this, if you reinvest in your community, you're investing long term. You will cut down on thefts and shopliftings and retail theft and fraud and all this stuff. Today your balance sheet may look a little less profitable today. Your quarterly statements may be down slightly today and tomorrow, but down the road, it's going to be so much more beneficial. But they don't ever think what's happening 10 years and 20 years into the future. They just care about this quarter and maybe the next one.
Yeah, it comes
The
full
immediate
circle,
shareholder
doesn't it, Mike?
return.
Yeah.
It does.
Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off, Ashley, but
No, you're good. Lindsay.
top of mind. The immediate shareholder return. The shareholders want to see that immediate.
Yep.
Sorry.
It
Ashley,
eventually
Graph go
benefits
up.
them. It
Yeah.
does.
Yep.
go.
Well, and the CEOs of the big corporations, though, they've only got a couple of years to build their golden parachute. So, they're all thinking short term as well. So, yeah, the whole system is just broken.
Yet they're paid more than anybody else in the company with so little accountability. I said that, but it's true.
Yeah. So there you go. We did
So,
it.
Lindsay, I'm intrigued by your message in the private chat. Very intrigued. That's all I'll say. We'll have to discuss that at some point. Lindsay has things. There was something in your face that I was going to actually call you out because you were like I could see you biting your
Watch
tongue.
my shoulders go up like this. Like,
And I'm like,
What?
yeah, Lindsay's got some things to say.
What did I do now?
That better be left unsaid, probably.
yeah, we're gonna leave
Yeah.
that.
Yes.
That's just it.
Yep.
So we've got a possible solution, and that's for everybody to just, try to help with the things that they have to help. But I think it has to go a step further, and some of the responsibility has to go on those who are in need, and to take the opportunities that they're given, the help, and use it as a hand up and not as a hand out. I know that's become cliche in a lot of circles to say it that way, but it's the truth. It's that whole teach a man to fish versus giving them a fish. You can give them a fish for the hand out to give them through the moment, but then kind of teach them and train them up to be able to be self-sustaining. That's another piece of the puzzle, I think, that is ultimately missing in so many communities. And this is where when communities were tighter, I think it was probably handled better.
Yep.
But that's something that has kind of rotated off to government now, and you know how well those programs help. They usually don't.
Yep.
Wahoo says we need more good ripple effects.
Mm-hmm.
I agree.
Exactly.
Give people jobs, for instance, people, or help people find jobs, for one, and put them somewhere that they can hone their skills and improve society. I know it's easier said than done, but
build the economic opportunity, teach them to fish, so to speak.
Yeah.
Yep.
Exactly.
Well, and there are organizations that will do that. Mm-hmm. Unfortunately, I knew of one who was doing that, but it turned out to be a complete fraud, and they were just lining their pockets. So that's unfortunate, because that's the thing too. Is there's just these bad actors everywhere that unfortunately just take what should be an easy thing to be able to help people, and they turn it around and make it a selfish thing. And
maybe they should go for C Corp status then. Be corporate responsibly that way. I don't know. But yeah, they need to be held accountable too, for sure. If they say they're doing something to help the community, they should be actually helping the community, is what I'm saying. I know people want that, like you said, Dan. I know people want all that, the highlight and the good, just given off their. What am I trying to say? I'm trying to say they want it to look good, but they don't actually want to put the work behind it. And I think that, and I think we're going the right direction with that, but I think there needs to be more of them, for sure.
Yeah, they want the accolades without having to put in the work.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Yeah, not the people that actually, not more of the people that are the bad actors, but the ones that are actually putting forth the work. Yeah. And I think, we've been talking about C Corps a lot in class, and C corporations are good in that way. That Bombas is great, is a great example of it.
So I think to circle it back to where we started, and that is, I think for all the resources that are out there, we do need more, but for people that don't even avail themselves to any of them, I mean, eventually, we do have to just look into the possibility of, all right, the only thing left for people is jail or prison. And, people that are out there just constantly, stealing stuff just because. I mean, that's where it ultimately has to go. But for everybody else, I think we have this sort of sliding scale of what we can try to do to help. And I think that's I ultimately, because that's where we get to with the court system. That's how we kind of started with this whole conversation, and that is how we're going to fix the court system and how we're going to address this going forward. And I think that's one way to do it. We keep a lot of people out of jail and prison that way. We have all these programs. We have better community awareness. It all kind of builds off of itself if we can do that. So
Yes.
That's what I'm hoping for the future.
Me too.
Yeah.
Yep.
Unfortunately, as with so many things, probably easier said than done.
Yes.
I was just sitting here thinking about how much better the world would be if we had people that were willing to help, and at the same time, the people who needed the help understood that it was okay to just ask.
Yep.
Um,
Don't
Yeah.
be
but
too
we're kind
proud.
of missing. We're kind of missing on both of those fronts.
Yep. Don't
Austin, that's
be
a great point.
too proud or too stubborn to take the help.
Yes.
It can mean the difference between life and death.
Yes.
And that is coming from somebody who is doing that currently.
Mhm.
I have been getting help for a while, and it has meant the difference between night and day.
Sure. And that's good because, it's if it's helping you live a better life,
Yep.
then it's totally worth it and
It
helping
brings-
you move forward.
Yes.
It brings me back to the concept that everybody starts somewhere, and I don't think people should think that people are beneath each other. Everybody is in different stages in their life and on different
Yes.
journeys.
Yep.
And I just do not believe in the concept of somebody looking over somebody else that's in a different stage or a different stage in their life. Everybody gets to where they need to be at different times. So I definitely agree with that.
No, because I'll tell you, as the senior member of the panel here, that life is not just this upward slope. It is a roller coaster. I have had times where I have had a lot of money, and then I've had times where I've been knocked down and I'm struggling to make my electric bill.
Yep.
And then you climb back up and you go back down, and life is a lot more of a roller coaster. And so it's hard. It's not good for you to look down on people who are in a different stage of their life, because a series of a couple of events puts you right down there with them.
Yep.
Yep.
And I've lived it. I know what it
Or
is.
Could be you tomorrow.
Yeah. Yeah. And literally like tomorrow in some cases. It's amazing how quickly your world will turn upside down sometimes.
Yep.
It just takes a moment for something to happen, and the next thing you know, everything's just a little bit different and a little bit worse.
And
But-
just like we're not guaranteed tomorrow, we're
Nope.
not guaranteed a job tomorrow either. So yeah, just kind of keep that in mind.
That's true. I like to think that I'm guaranteed a job because we're completely self-employed here. But
Yeah.
the truth, but the
You might be
truth of it
slightly
is-
more in control of that than
Yeah.
some of us, Daniel.
But the
Yeah.
truth of it is, one cyber attack from a bad acting nation, and I'm out of business.
Yeah.
Because all of the different ventures we have, one way or another, are tied to the internet. So
Yep.
even with me, I could wake up tomorrow morning and everything's shut off, and I gotta quickly pivot into a different direction. So I don't know.
Yep.
Definitely
Nothing
so.
is guaranteed. Nothing is easy, but we make it harder than it needs to be. That's for sure. I think
Yes.
that's the one thing we can agree upon from what we talked about tonight, is that we've done a pretty good job with these people who need help, potentially, who maybe would take the hand up.
Yep.
And we've just made it a lot harder to get these people what they need, a lot harder for them to take the help and actually do something with it. But
And a lot of bad
maybe
actors.
someday we'll figure it out.
Yep.
Yeah.
What'd you say, Ashley?
And a lot of bad actors too that
A lot of
pretend
bad
they're
actors.
doing what they're supposed to do, and they're not doing what they're supposed to do. And
Yep.
who are they harming? The people under them is what who they're harming, or the people they're trying to help. So, yeah.
Yep.
And
the bad actors.
sometimes the bad actors start out with good intentions too.
Right.
I'll leave you with this generic story, and then we are just about ready to call it a night. But I've talked about it in the past, but a little more generically for the general audience. Beth and I know somebody who, with a partner of hers, founded a company that grew to be a multi-million-dollar business that was operating in several cities. But the goal of that company was to take people who weren't necessarily qualified and make them qualified. And specifically what they did was in coding, so in computer programming. They would take people from anywhere, from any background, whatever education level they were, whatever, and they would they would train them up to be able to take coding positions in companies. Lofty, but certainly a benefit, right?
Mm-hmm.
Well, the problem was along the way, the two of them developed a bit of a God complex along the same time that they figured out that their business made no sense economically. The math did not math. So they started ripping off investors to fund the business for years to the tune of over $120 million.
Whoa.
So both of them are in federal prison now. So that's the other unfortunate thing is sometimes you start out with good intentions, but those good intentions end up warping you.
Yep.
And
That's not just
you
taking
become-
some money to feed your family.
No, you become
No.
something that you never intended to be, or maybe you did, I don't know, but in their case, I believe they started out with good intentions, but rather than admit that their idea didn't work, they started stealing from others to make their idea work. And that's not an answer either,
No.
but stuff does happen. Well, friends, I think we came up with ideas. I don't know if we solved anything though, because I don't know how to put it in action.
Yeah.
Other than maybe start with yourselves. Do not to put myself on a pedestal, but do what Beth and I do when we have the extras and stuff, we donate them.
Yep.
Yeah.
You know, start there, put things if you have it into a position where other people can benefit from it, and maybe that's
Local
the start.
community.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
don't make it and end up in a landfill. Just donate
No.
what you can, please.
Yeah.
Yep.
Our landfills are filled enough. Thank you very much.
Yes.
I agree.
Ashley, Lindsay, anybody? Final thoughts? Are we good for tonight?
Consultants are the bane of existence. There.
Amen.
I've done some consulting, so I don't know if I want to go quite that far.
Yeah, I've done
But
some too.
How
so-
about mostly?
But I consult in common sense.
Right. Corporate consultants for the most part.
There's the next business venture, Common Sense Consulting.
Oh, there you
There
go.
you
Consult
go.
people on how to
Common
be.
sense consulting.
Oh, that business would fail in the first 6 months.
Yeah.
People do not want to hear it.
Or it
They
turns
don't.
into a very successful podcast.
Yeah.
There-
I can
yes.
see that.
Stories on the way out.
Well, Michael and I already have another venture going, but we can put that one on the list. Speaking
Write
of
it
which,
down.
if everything goes well, tomorrow Michael and I are filming the pilot episode for In the Blind.
Huzzah.
Yes.
Very
Cool.
cool.
Assuming his dentist appointment doesn't get too often.
Assuming I don't talk like Droopy Dog after. Hello, welcome to In the Blind. I'm Mike, and that's Dan.
Actually, that might
Wonderful.
work.
It might actually make it more fun.
Have the big old ice pack
No.
wrapped around your head.
You're right again. You're right again, Daniel. I'm sorry.
On that
Well, we'll just see what happens.
Oh, yep.
All right, friends, let's call it a night, but we'll be back tomorrow morning, 9 a.m. Eastern now? Is that what we're doing?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Correct.
I'm still learning. 9 a.m. Eastern, 6 Pacific, half an hour early for channel members. We'll be back here for Sidebar Thursday night, 8 p.m. Eastern, 5 Pacific. And at some point, assuming all goes well, on Thursday, I'm guessing we'll be able to drop the pilot episode for In the Blind.
Yes.
So looking forward
Nice.
to that. But in the meantime, go have yourselves a good night. Take care. God bless.
Thank you,
Have a
everybody.
good
Bye,
night.
buddy.
Bye.